to the Crewcast, the Crew's live podcast about video games and all things Crew. Join us and many of your favorite crew members as we review games, talk about the new Crew series, answer your questions, and much more. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this episode of the Crewcast.
Hello everyone, and welcome to episode 35 of the Crewcast for the 13th of September 2014. Today we have Boz, Giz, Extra, Sarah, Swippin, and myself, and let's get straight to the news.
All right, first story. Big news for a good old Bungie. Destiny released. Now, we're recording this on the 8th of September. The podcast doesn't air until the 13th. And, of course, the game is released tomorrow for us. But any of you guys, any thoughts on Destiny? Excited about this? I mean, obviously this is kind of Bungie's first real foray back into it after kind of giving Halo to Microsoft and 343 Studios, I think is their name, which is made up of some ex-Bungie people. But thoughts on the game? Anyone going to play it?
I think it looks extremely interesting. I like the idea of just having both the FPS part and the RPG and character development, for sure. I'm not sure I'm going to play it myself. At least not in the beginning, maybe when it's like on sale or something. But I think the idea is really interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it looks cool, but I don't know if I'm going to play it. I mean, I don't have a PS4 or anything, but it looks interesting, but not really my forte.
It's not really something that I would really buy, but from what I've seen from like trailers and news and stuff like that, it does look really good, again with the FPS and the RPG like elements and stuff. And also it kind of reminds me, a lot of games are going that way now. Like I think Borderlands was one of the first to really go that way with putting like the RPG elements in. But I don't know, it looks interesting, and I think, you know, there'll definitely be a lot of people playing it.
I mean, it looks cool, but I'm probably never going to play it, or if I am, it's going to be like 10 years. It looks cool though, but yeah, I'm probably not going to play it.
My thoughts on Destiny, I mean, big fan of Halo. Really love Halo. So obviously anything that Bungie puts out, I'm going to look at. I'm kind of following the course with like Swippin here. It's like I don't know if I'm going to jump right on it. It's just, I don't think it's one of those games that I want to drop $60 on right off the bat. But I will play it probably when the price goes down. I'm still hoping that like digital releases will end up being cheaper than the physical copies. So, but eventually it'll hit that $29, $39 price. That I'll probably take a look at it then. All right, so let's move on. Now there was a huge rumor out there, and we kept getting this message to us all the time when we streamed. You know, that Google was buying Twitch. And it just was constantly, you know, everybody was saying, it's true, it's true, it's true. We were, you know, kind of like teased because we're like, well, there's no real guarantees yet. And people were like, it's happening, it's happening. And then when Twitch kind of instituted that new policy when it comes to music, everybody started screaming, this is what Google has done to them. Look what Twitch is going to become now that Google's in charge. Well, turns out Google didn't buy Twitch. That was unfounded. Amazon bottom. Now, I will say it sounds like Google and Microsoft and Yahoo were all interested, but Amazon made the best deal that the owners of Twitch felt was the right move for them. But your guys' thoughts, Amazon buying Twitch?
It's interesting. It's like, because everyone was thinking Google, but like it's actually Amazon. So it's like they're saying not much is going to change as well. So we'll see. I'm hoping it's going to be all right. Like, I think crazy is going to change, but we'll see.
Yeah, I think it's a fine move. I mean, it looked anyhow that someone's going to buy it, and I think Amazon is as good as any of them.
Yeah, I mean it seems like it's going to benefit both of them because Amazon they can post ads for whatever they want via their store, and then Twitch getting better servers for streaming. Uh, so it can benefit both, which is good.
Yeah, I agree. Like Amazon's always been like a company that I've always liked, and I love the fact that it's going to be Amazon. It's not going to be something that's Google based, because obviously I feel like they're going to be a lot more lenient with what you can, what you can actually do on Twitch and how heavily it's going to be like moderated. There you go. So I think it's good that they're not going to change a whole lot, and I think I'm not the only one to say that. I feel like if YouTube did get a hold of it, they would moderate a lot more heavily.
Yeah, one worry was Google Plus integration with Twitch, with all those rumors that were going prior the announcement.
I will say I'm happy with it. I'm a big Amazon fan. I mean, I have an Amazon Prime subscription, which we use for the free shipping, 2-day shipping, free. Obviously, the ability to watch some TV shows. Amazon's obviously starting to try to do like Netflix and have exclusive TV shows that they produce themselves. So I'm a big fan of Amazon. They're really good customer support. They have a history of buying tech companies and not, in a sense, destroying them, tearing them apart for whatever they want and then just throwing the company away, which I think is a good thing because I'd hate to see Twitch change. I guess the funniest part, though, is just that all that outcry about the music changes and all that policies, everybody blamed Google for it. And Twitch is just like, no. I mean, this is just something we're doing proactively because we have to. I think there's going to be more to come from that because I think Twitch has become so massive now that it's going to start getting looked at heavily by the music industry and potentially other industries. But I think you're going to see a lot more changes when it comes to the music. I think you're going to see it start to eventually get banned from live streams. Right now, Twitch is just like, you can just play music and on your live stream, people will hear it. But if it's detected music when it hits the video on demand, watching it after it's been broadcast, it's going to get muted. I think it's going to eventually have to change and be done on the live stream. And that's technically, I think, very difficult to do live. And I think Amazon's going to probably have to help push it towards that. But I think Amazon's a great choice. I think Yahoo would have been a horrible choice. Microsoft, I think, would have been abysmal if they had it, because I think then you would see it going, the PS4, the PS3, the Nintendo consoles would have probably started getting pushed out of things because Microsoft has it in them to make money off of PC games, and obviously the 360 and the One. All right, moving on. Minecraft 1.8 came out a few weeks ago. What do you guys think on it? Anyone here consider themselves an expert on 1.8 that wants to talk about some of the key features?
I can say the 3 things I like the most of it. I of course love the optimizations. They improved like the speed and such, which is really nice and well needed. I also really like their new world generation thing. You can set almost every part of the world you can change. Like you can have gigantic sharp peaks everywhere and crazy stuff. It was pretty cool to play with. And I guess we will see some cool like maps and adventure stuff and challenges, like try and survive on this crazy map type of maps that will be pretty fun, I think. And the last one I think is a new block, and that's the slime block that you can bounce on. That sounds really fun. I haven't tried it, but sounds really fun.
Yeah, I always love updates with like new mobs and new blocks and new stuff. Just stuff that can add to it. Like the mutton, yes, finally mutton hype. Oh my gosh. New doors and stuff. The fences and stuff having all the different colours now.
I like the new underwater dungeon. That looks really cool. And you can get sponge blocks from that, which actually do stuff now. And I really like that.
I don't think the sponge blocks did anything before, did they?
Well, they got water.
Mm-hmm.
then they nerfed it.
Something I think is really interesting, especially from like a YouTube point of view. They've actually added a game mode called Spectator. Not entirely sure I haven't got a chance to try it out yet, but assuming it's what I think it probably is, which is you can spectate other players or something like that, that could really come in handy for Minecraft videos, maybe tournaments, mini games, stuff like that. I think there's a lot of potential for that game mode.
We've tried it. I think we actually live streamed it once or twice. It sounds nice, but it isn't there. At least it wasn't great. The biggest problems with it, from what I saw, is when you spectated somebody, you saw through their eyes, but you don't see their hands, their weapons. You don't see their inventory, like what they're currently selecting or scrolling around. And then if you go third person, it's kind of tough when they're not out in the open, because you don't necessarily have the greatest views. The third person can kind of be ugly, like when they're in tight areas inside caves, things like that. Mm-hmm. So it is much more fluid than the Spectate plugins, but unless they change something at release, and I haven't looked at it since release, but I haven't heard much, I think the first person view still doesn't really kind of show you what the player's doing.
I will say one thing that I'm not really too fond of is the rabbits. I'm not sure if it's the Mo Creatures guy that's done these rabbits or whatever, but the rabbits in the Mo Creatures mod are just better, in my opinion. They're smaller, more cuter. You can put them on your head. The ones in the game are a lot bigger, and they just don't look right. They look more like hares to me rather than rabbits.
Aw, I'm actually quite excited that we can have pet rabbits now, and I think Piper is as well, to be honest.
I don't get the whole you put them on your head. That just doesn't seem very realistic.
Yeah.
But it was funny. It was cute. They're just more cute, that's all. That's what I was trying to say.
Yeah, I think this is a great update. In fact, obviously this has taken a while, this update. So it's got a lot of new blocks, lots of changes, lots of command block additions and different things that I think are going to be big, especially when we start talking about a topic in our main segment. And that's one of the points I want to make, is I'm going to save it for later. But I think this is a good update. The thing I hate about all updates to Minecraft is they break Bukkit. And all of our servers then kind of are on the old version. In the past, older versions of Minecraft were harder for people to install. People were always confused about how to copy jars and different things. Now it's much easier with the launcher, but we still find that a lot of our viewers and people who like to play on, say, Chaos, struggle with selecting older versions to play. So I kind of hate that dead window when we're waiting on things to get caught up. And obviously, again, topic coming up is going to kind of deal with the troubles that this has and have been magnified with a whole bunch of other problems. So anyway, let's move on, since we've taken quite a bit just on the main news. Let's move on to the crew news. So first off, sadly, we don't have all the crew here. I would have liked to have had everybody here. But Mario, I think, is going to be coming on later. Piper is busy. She has to edit Sisters. And if she doesn't get it done, she won't be able to get an episode out in a couple days. So she's not here either. But we've added 2 new people to the crew. I posted something on the forums about this, but I felt like it definitely warrants talking about here. But Longshots and Swippin are now in the crew.
Yay!
Yay!
Now, I do want to mention, as I did on the forum when I posted about this, we still have not gone through the applications and looked at everybody who applied to be the crew. Shots and Swippin were definitely kind of, I don't want to say, I'm not sure what the right word, but special case doesn't make a lot of sense. I'm not sure what the best word to use here is, but Shots and Swippin both have been around for a while and have helped us through with numerous things, be it moderating, be it Swippin making plugins, helping with live streams, Shots helping with different events that we've done, moderating them, modding on the servers for us, just constantly. And honestly, they've helped us out and never really asked for anything in return. Just enjoyed playing with us and helping us, and that meant a lot to all of us. So we felt like it made sense to bring them in. the thing we did do, you've probably seen them in a few videos or already, but we wanted to give them a couple weeks to try doing this with us so that they could make sure they were happy with it and it was something that they liked doing. And the same thing for us is that we made sure that it worked, that it fit, and we felt like they both fit great. After the 2 weeks, ended, they kind of were like, and say, hey, we enjoyed doing it. And then we were like, hey, we enjoyed having you. So we've made it official. So welcome to both of you too.
Thank you.
Woo. Thank you.
But we still have to go through the applications, and we will definitely be doing like an open server on on a weekend and have like multiple time slots, and we're going to bring some of these people in. People just have to realize we can't look at those applications and just say, Billy fits in the crew and Billy, you're in. We need to look at those applications mainly just a way to saying this person has some of the criteria that might look good to help us or do stuff with us, but we don't know anything about most of these people. Personalities, technical issues, do they have microphones, do they sound good? So what we want to do is have some open servers where we bring people in chunks that we feel like are potentially somebody who could help us, and then we'll see how they play with us in the open servers and go from there. And even in those cases, if we say, hey, Billy and Sally are awesome, we like both of them, we still would do like a trial with Billy and Sally to make sure that they like doing what we do and we like and having them at that point. So it's just the way we're going to continue to go forward. It just makes it better than to post a video and do stuff and say, hey, welcome Billy and Sally, and then we find out 5 minutes later that Billy's a serial killer. And we're like, whoa, Dexter, we don't want you in here. And then we kind of have to then have a video a couple days later, and Billy's no longer there. And people are like, well, what happened to Billy? Well, Billy was crazy. No offense to anyone named Billy. So that's our plan. This is our no serial killer plan. So Shots and Swippin, you passed the test. Let's just hope we vetted you guys. So another topic is obviously the podcast is back. You can see us here now. If you've lasted this long, kudos to you. We're going to try to do these more often. I mean, obviously, I think it was back in May, our last one, so it has been quite a while. I've gotten people that ask, they want it back. We're going to try to do them. I mean, I don't know what the right interval is. I don't know what you guys think.
Probably like every 2 weeks or a month or so.
I would have said 2 weeks.
Every fortnight, yeah.
Yeah, you don't want them too close together to where it becomes a hassle to kind of focus on every week. But you also don't want to spread it too far out to where it seems like there's barely any.
So, I mean, we're going to talk about that more kind of offline as the days go on and weeks here. But we're going to try to get back to these. I know they're not going to be the most popular things. Some of our fans don't want to hear these kind of discussions. They want to just see games, maps, and different things. And if that's the case, then obviously you don't need to watch the crewcast. But enough people have asked about it. We're going to try to do them. It's just not going to be every week. Probably monthly initially, maybe, and we'll see. But that's kind of the goal with that. All right, two more kind of topics. One is Chaos is back, our Chaos server. Now, you guys have probably noticed that the theme builds have stopped. I think we did, was it 40 weeks or so?
Yeah, sounds about right.
And Piper predominantly did almost all of those. And she had a lot of stuff going on in the real world, and it was very tough for her to get caught up. And was kind of her baby, what she wanted to do, the editing. So we kind of were like, well, let's just stop for a few weeks, give her a chance to catch up, and then just take a little bit of a break. Give her a time off, because she still does Sisters also, the editing for that. Then 1.8 came out, and it's kind of caused some issues with plugins and things of that nature. So we will be bringing the theme servers back. They're not gone. We will give you guys a chance to build for themes and things. But what we did is we have the Chaos server. Now, Chaos is a PvP server. It's in 1.710, and we have Blood Moons, PvP. You can claim land, protect it. We use the grief prevention plugin for that, and we also use the LWC plugin, so you can lock chests, doors. I think you can lock dispensers and different things and furnaces, all that kind of stuff. So you have a little bit of multiple controls over things. It's been popular. I think school's starting up now, so people are playing a little bit less, and I think people are struggling to have 1.7.10 installed instead of 1.8. We tried to run 1.8, but honestly, the current Bukkit Spigot releases for 1.8 are very, very buggy, and the topic coming up in a little bit is going to chat on why that hasn't been fixed yet. But it seems like people are enjoying Chaos. All right, last topic on the crew. Everybody in the world basically has been doing ALS Ice Bucket challenge videos, and we did get challenged, and it spread all over the place through our fan base and all of our friends. So we've put up a lot of videos on it, and we've live streamed some of the other videos that some of our friends have done. You're seeing on screen a kind of a little highlight. We don't want to really talk too much about this, except if you haven't gone to alsa.org, do so. If you can donate to them, donate. Challenge your friends to the Ice Bucket Challenge. Challenge them to donate. Keep raising awareness for ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease, and hopefully all the money they're getting can help them work towards finding a cure. I mean, we all did the Ice Bucket Challenge, and we didn't. The videos are funny and all that, and some people thought we were trying to jump on the bandwagon. None of the videos that we put up were monetized. We didn't earn any money from those videos. I didn't even allow comments. I wanted it literally just to be the description, have the link to alsa.org, and hopefully people have gone and donated. But it was a lot of fun doing the Ice Bucket Challenges and seeing everybody do them. But at a core, it was about raising awareness for ALS research. All right, this is the biggie. This is the big topic. It's what the heck is going on with Bukkit, Mojang, end-user license agreements, DMCA takedown notices, the halt of development on Bukkit, Spigot, and variations on those projects. Just to give a brief description of kinda this topic, very, very brief, and I'll let you guys fill in more details. When Bukkit, was it 2 years ago? Mojang hired 4 developers from the Bukkit project on at Mojang. Those people went to work at, I think it was that Evil Seth, Dinnerbone, and a couple others, I don't remember. But 4 of those developers all went to Mojang to work there. But they don't work on Bukkit. They're working on Minecraft. And a lot of you have seen Dinnerbone. He's pretty high profile with lots of tweets and everything he's working on. I believe that Evil Seth, and I may be butchering that username, left recently, maybe about 6 months ago or a year ago, left Mojang. But Bukkit itself continued with volunteers and people still working on it. A lot of people thought that Mojang was working on it, but Mojang wasn't contributing to Bukkit. It was still all the volunteers. They kept all these updates going. Mojang released a new in-user license agreement that basically was Mojang's way of trying to stop pay to win. Servers that would say, hey, Gizmo, pay me $5 a month, and when you log on to Chaos, you'll start fully geared, knockback swords, protection armor, blah, blah, blah. They didn't want people paying money in order to get an edge on their servers. And I think that's a great idea. I think it's just hard to do. A lot of people were upset about it. It kind of prohibits you from reverse engineering and everything, their source code, their work, but they kind of always allowed Bukkit to get around that. They never really said Bukkit was a problem. Well, I think Evil Seth kind of posted that that he was stopping Bukkit development because of the new EULA, and it just didn't work, and they were afraid of legal issues. And then Mojang kind of said, "Hey, hold it, we own Bukkit. We own the project. When we hired those 4 developers, we are also acquired the code and the rights to Bukkit. So don't worry, we'll continue it. People were happy and kind of confused. A lot of the Bukkit developers that were helping, these people contributing for free, had no idea that they were contributing to a project that was owned by Mojang, a company that's making quite a bit of money. And they were doing all this for free. Some of them might have been upset. Maybe they didn't care. Some of them just weren't happy because they didn't know. Well, then one of the main, I won't say one of the main, but one of the big contributors, this guy called Wolverness. So this guy is a major developer for Bukkit, contributed 10,000 plus lines of code to Bukkit. He issued DMCA takedown notices to, I believe, Mojang, to Spigot, and to Bukkit, saying, I contributed all this code to a project that's supposed to be open source, and you have to take this stuff down unless you take my code out or you release the server code to the Minecraft server into the public domain, or to at least open source license, I should say. Obviously, that's more targeted to Mojang. Mojang, of course, doesn't want to do that. So now, basically, Bukkit and Spigot and other projects that use the Bukkit framework are, in a sense, shut down. They cannot develop this DMCA takedown notice, which is a legal threat or legal means to take something down from a website or whatever. They've all shut down, in a sense. And if you've looked at the Bukkit website, all these developers and people working on Bukkit have all said, we're done, we're gone, bye, see you. So we can't get any updates to Bukkit, to Spigot. That's been one of the issues with the Chaos server, is I've wanted to update because 1.8, the version we were running, is very buggy. But I can't get updates because it's stopped. This legal stuff has stopped the development. So it's in a complete hold. What do you guys think about this drama? Your thoughts on it, any other information, any more detail, things that I may have just got wrong, but your guys' thoughts.
Well, I think let's talk about them continuing it. I still think that the API from Mojang themselves, I think that's not that far away. I think we're talking like 1.9 or like 2.0, whatever they do with it. And by that time it will change dramatically. So I think it's maybe about covering for 1 or 2 more versions before we have the big changes. So I'm not that scared about the Bukkit thing. But I mean, Bukkit is so widely used, and it's really nice for people to be able to log onto server without installing lots of plugins and still have lots of new content and new stuff. But yeah, I also understand the developers on Bukkit. I mean, they work really, really hard. They spend loads of time and they don't get that much from it. So yeah, it's a tough one, but I think I'm on the Bukkit side of this. I think they did the right thing to stop, even if it's sad for us players. I don't know the end of it because it's really hard to guess if Mojang really wants to continue Bukkit through the next version or so. But yeah, I'm a bit twisted about it.
So it should be noted real quick too, if people listening didn't catch one of the things Swippen talked about, or if it didn't register, he mentioned the API. Bukkit allows you to do a lot of great stuff with plugins and all this stuff, and kind of add features to the basic Minecraft server, the vanilla server. Mojang has been saying for a long time, and anyone who follows the crew and hears me talk on podcasts or everything else, I keep waiting for this API because, in a sense, they were going to give a Bukkit-like experience where developers could do add-ons through the API to do kind of what happens with Bukkit, but it be officially supported by Mojang and hopefully be less of an issue when updates occur, to where, like, when they release 1.9, say the API already existed, when 1.9 came out, our API plugins, whatever you want to call them, would probably just work for the most part. Whereas with Bukkit, when Minecraft updates, Bukkit then has to kind of reverse engineer the server and then implement Bukkit into that. So it takes time. They do a really good job and do it quick for the most part, but there is some dead time. This would hopefully get away from that. The problem I have is all I've ever heard is Mojang talk about the API, but every time we get a release, it never happens. That always gets pushed away and gets pushed away. My fear is just, are they really going to do the API? Is there any work really ever been done yet? I think what they did is they started looking at the Minecraft code, and they're like, this stuff is a mess. You know, to implement this into it with an API into this is going to take a lot more work. So they're cleaning up, they're refactoring the code, but they're still adding stuff, because if they don't add stuff, people will get disappointed. So they're adding blocks, they're adding other features, you know, all the stuff that we've talked about, new mobs, new, you know, different things. So they're continuing to develop it from a feature mode for the fans, but the people who want to develop plugins and stuff have kind of been left high and dry. So I think they're working towards being able to implement the API, but have they started it yet? If they haven't really started it yet, how long is it really going to take? Is it going to take as long as it took to get 1.8? If it is, boy, that's going to be a while, and that's going to be tough. And if Bukkit is stopped and not moving forward, that's huge, because, I mean, I hate to say it, but does anyone really run popular servers on vanilla Minecraft servers? I don't think they do.
You will still have popular Forge servers though.
Yeah, Forge is a whole different case though. And typically right now, Forge requires all the clients to install mods to be able to do it, to play on their servers, unless I'm missing something.
Yeah, you need Forge.
That was the beauty of Bukkit. I mean, with Bukkit, you just load the vanilla Minecraft. You know, you got 1.710. You can come on to our Chaos server. We have blood moons. We have all these cool features where you can lock and protect your land. But the users did not have to do anything. That was really beautiful, because it is tough sometimes for some of the younger users and people who aren't as literate, computer literate, to be able to do things.
I just hope it gets sorted, because it's such an important part of the multiplayer Minecraft.
I think there are many wills that wants to solve it, and there are many
Yeah,
good
I think
programmers that want to do something good. So I'm still not that worried. I mean, sure, it probably would take a few months to get some sort of 1.8 version server-wise, or even half a year, worst case. But I know there are many wills to get something good out, and I think it will be fine in just a little late.
I'm just kind of surprised that, like, even after all this time, there hasn't really been any talk of the API. I mean, I had a little look at this, and like Notch back in like late of 2009 was talking about how he wanted to implement the API and stuff, and this was back when the game was in alpha, and it's like it's 5 years have passed now. You know, it's 2014, and we haven't really seen anything that much as far as the API is concerned. So I feel like if we are going to wait for an API, chances are we're still going to be waiting for a decent amount of time. And if that's the case, what other options is there? I think what Mojang will probably do is they'll try to push stuff like Whelms out and try to make Whelms like a much more bigger thing while they've like got the free time to do so.
I mean, I have seen during these years they have made a lot of changes that are towards the API. I mean, starting with making the server and client the same code, that was first big step, and these optimizations, and they changed the ID of blocks so that they're easier to build on. They changed so many things that you can see that they are working towards an API, so I'm pretty sure there will be one, but it's hard to say the status of it and how soon. But I can't see that many more big structural things they have to do, so I think it's not that far off still, but you never know. It's not that many developers compared to big games, so it's hard to say.
I think my biggest fear with the mod API, but I mean, I think that they were working the groundwork to move towards being able to do it. I just don't think they've really started the actual API yet. And I think it's tough for the small team that Swippen talks about to do that and continue to add enhancements to the game. Users, by and large, probably won't be excited if the next update is the API update. If it takes 6 months or longer to get that update and it's just the API, your normal users are probably going to be upset because they want new stuff. They want new blocks. They want new items, new mobs. That's what they want. And I think it's hard to do both. And then my other concern is, at what point does Mojang say, we need to start thinking about the next thing? Is there ever going to be Minecraft 2? Where it's a complete, new product, where it's a completely new project, new build, new code, taking it and trying to take it to some new level? Are they going to continue to just update this one? I think the API is a ways off. I think 6 months is probably is a low number. I think it's going to take that longer. And if we don't get Bukkit solved, 6 months with no Bukkit and no plugins is going to be a nightmare for server owners and people. Because everybody's going to want to be able to use the new blocks, the new stuff, the new mobs, and it's just not going to work. Now, can Realms fix that with their own stuff? Maybe. Maybe they'll be the savior. I think Mojang needs to solve this legal issue as quickly as possible so that Bukkit can continue. Because Bukkit, I think, has done a lot to help sell Minecraft. When you see all these servers with all these cool features and everything that's working through Bukkit and all the tools that it gives the server administrators, Bukkit has done a great job of advancing Minecraft and sales in Minecraft. And I think it would be sad if Mojang lets us sit and everything sits stagnant for 6 months or longer. All right, so we'll move on. We'll hopefully touch on this maybe on our next podcast. Hopefully it'll be resolved and we can say it's all over and we can laugh about how it was so easy. So deals of the week. Now normally we usually link to a lot of great Humble Bundle deals and different things, but since we're recording this on a Monday and it's not airing till Saturday, a lot of those types of deals that pop up or those weekend deals haven't even started yet. So the deal I'm going to show right now is on Steam is their week-long deals. There's a ton of games on here. Some are very, very cheap, $1 or less. Lots of different things on there. None of these are like AAA titles, or if they are high-end titles, they're a little bit older. But a lot of great stuff on here. I'm a big fan of the Descent series, those old first-person game where you flew through the tunnels with your little ship, and it was 3D, and this goes all the way back to the original Doom 3D. Love Descent. There's a few versions of Descent on here. Anything on here that you guys have seen that bring back some memories?
Same here. The Descent games I played earlier. I also, when I studied game developer, I did for 2 years. We also tried to make some similar game to Descent, like these tunnels and the not knowing what up or down was and things like that was really fun. So I really like those games.
No, I don't know any of these games. Although Freight Tycoon, get hype.
I would also like to mention the UFO Afterlight. It's these similar to the XCOM that recently released, turn-based strategy games. They are really fun too.
There's actually a fighting game on here that I remember playing a while back called Blaze Blue, or BlazBlue, or however, it's Blaze Blue, okay? Blaze Blue Calamity Trigger. It's actually, I remember playing on the 360 a couple of years back, and it's actually a really fun fighting game if you're into like the fighting genre. And the fact that it's only like £3.50, like it may be worth buying just for the sake of, just giving it a try and seeing what you think of it if you're into that type of game.
I mean, a lot of these games are a little bit older in some cases, or just maybe indie-ish, but the prices on some of these games are just really good. And like I said, the Descent series is a lot of fun. The normal prices for Descent I don't think are worth it. I think they were going for like $10, but on here you can buy a lot of the different Descent releases for $1 each. Very, very cheap. there's some good stuff on here. If you've got $5 or $6 you want to spend, you can end up getting 2 or 3 different games on here, and there's some decent ones on there. Look at the comments on the Steam forum, but a link to the deals, as always, are in the description of the video, and of course in the if you're using this on your podcast programs, in the description for the podcast. All right, so the last segment is your guys' questions. Now, I will say, if you're watching this and you've got some questions, send them in. There's a link in the description of the video and the podcast to submit your questions. You can submit them in typed form, which all the ones you're going to hear are, or you can make a video with your question, or an audio file. Link us to an unlisted YouTube video or a video that's stored on Dropbox or whatever. If it's an audio question, you can link us to it on SoundCloud or on Dropbox or whatever. If you do an audio or video question, we'll show it in the podcast, assuming you don't do something weird with like copyrighted music or things of that nature. So we love video questions. We love audio questions. So none of these are, but use the description, send us in your questions. We want a lot of great questions, especially questions that are relevant for, stuff that we're talking about now or stuff that's been happening in gaming. Just anything to interest you. It can be to the crew in general, can be to a specific crew member. So send those questions in. All right, first question, and this is from Choco Swirl, and I'm going to go around to everybody, but wants to know, what is your favorite sports team for any sport? So, Sarah.
To be honest, I'm not really a sporty person, but I'm just gonna say my favourite teams for all sports would just have to be Great Britain when it comes to us taking part in any sporting events.
Okay. Shots?
I don't watch much sports either, but when I do, it's college football. It's what my parents raised me watching, and that would be Ohio State. Favorite team, go Bucks.
Now, I fully imagine we'll have somebody who will be a Michigan fan that's going to post. For those who don't know, Michigan State University hates the Buckeyes, and the Buckeyes hate them. It's one of the hottest rivalries in football. So if you're going to scream "Go Blue," I'm sure it's going to happen in our comments. What about you, Swevin?
I'm most likely going to get some rage for this, but I'm going to go the esport way. Some, of course, won't call it sports, but I do. I think it's more of a strategic sport than physical, I guess. But I would go with League of Legends series, and I would go with Fnatic. I watch all the games, and I think they're a really great team as team play. Yeah.
Okay. Extra?
Tears. I'm just kidding. Okay. I'd probably go for football / soccer, whatever you want to call it. I don't care. And my favorite team is probably Middlesbrough. It's not like that name doesn't really mean a lot to a lot of people, but it's kind of like the local city. So it's a team that I support. We're not as good as like we used to be. We used to be like 09, 08. We used to be in like the Premiership, which is like the highest league you can be in. We've kind of fallen out of form since then, but they're the local city, so I've got to keep supporting them. So up the borough.
Okay. Giz?
Definitely Michigan for me. Michigan State, yeah, for sure. For sure.
What's
No,
their
I don't-
mascot?
A tiger wrapped around a Spanish woman.
Nope.
No, I don't do sport, really, to be honest.
So no real pick here for you?
No, I mean, I like basketball, like playing it, but I don't really watch sport.
Okay. All right. Well, for me, I like almost all sports in general, but my favorite team is the Cincinnati Bengals. We have season tickets. We go to all the home games, and 3 years straight we made the playoffs and got knocked out in the first round. Hopefully, this is the year. Go Bengals! Hoo day! All right. Our next question comes from the Paul. Is there any game from over 8 to 10 years, so we'll say 10 years ago, that you would like to see a sequel of, excluding Half-Life? So, Giz, any thoughts on that?
Well, not 10 years ago. I'm kind of going more towards the 8 years ago-ish. I'm not sure exactly when it came out. I'm kind of cheating a bit here as well. But like, I've always wanted to have a sequel to the Oddworld franchise. And actually, there has recently been a remake of the original game. So I'm hoping with that coming out, there's going to be some actual new kind of sequels to the old game sort of thing, continuing the series.
Okay.
I'm a massive fan of the Oddworld series.
I will say Mario's not here, but everybody probably knows Mario would say Time Splitters.
He said Banjo-Kazooie, I think.
He'd say Time Splitters.
I bet you 10 quid he said Banjo-Kazooie.
Well, you already owe me more than that from our previous bet, so if you win, I'll call it even. How's that? You're not allowed to talk to him or have anyone talk to him. When he comes on, we ask him. Somebody else can ask him, and I guarantee you he's going to say Time Splitters. If not, we're square. You don't owe me you owe me quite a bit too. I forget, it's a lot, but I'll call it square. Deal?
Okay.
You guys heard it. Remember, no cheating. All right, so extra.
This is where I'm going to mention this game again, and I feel like every single podcast I mention this game, but Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines, just the idea of it having a sequel is such an amazing idea. The thing is, when the original game came out, it sold terribly, mainly because it had so many technical flaws and bugs that a lot of critics just wouldn't look at it twice because it was so buggy. And it sold like 80,000 copies, so you can imagine, it sounds like a lot, but in like the big picture, it's really not. And it's like, it's 2014 now, so it was 10 years ago. Fans are still releasing patches to this game. Now, as far as I'm aware, Troika Games, which is the company that made Vampire the Masquerade, doesn't exist anymore. And I believe they sold all the rights to the publisher, which was Activision. Now, I'm thinking if Activision made a sequel, like, let's be real, it's Activision. There's not going to be any technical flaws and, like, glitches and bugs and all this kind of stuff. It's not going to happen if Activision's the one doing it. And I just think, how good a reception is it going to get when there's already fans that are willing to dedicate that much time based on the original? Like, it needs to happen. I can't.
Okay. Sriven?
I struggled loads with this question because a lot of the game, I went through like lists of games from this years, and lots of the game that I really liked already have sequels, like Civilization and games like that. So the closest one I got was maybe the Unreal Tournament series.
Yes.
And we have Unreal Tournament, they are confirmed coming with the really cool engine, and it's going to be really, really cool. So I would say Unreal Tournament.
Okay.
That's my second choice.
Growing up, I played a lot of platformers, and one of my favorites was Earthworm Jim. And negating the HD remake 4 years ago, they haven't really made anything since, so I would love another Earthworm Jim.
Sarah?
To be honest, I'm not too sure on this one, mainly for the fact that I was quite young at the time, and I didn't really know about games that came out around that sort of time. I guess, like, the only game that I could think of would be Serious Sam, that I played quite a bit, and there's already been quite a few sequels for that already, so I'm fine with that.
Okay. Well, for me, boy, it's tough. There's so many great games from the past that have kind of died out. So it's really tough. But I'd say System Shock, one of the greatest PC games of all time. System Shock 2. I would love to see something continue and be of the quality of System Shock 2. Whew, but with that, I think that ends episode 35 of the Crewcast. So if you guys want to say goodbye, we will go off and play Minecraft 1.8.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye!
Bye!
Thanks for watching the Crewcast. We hope you tune in again next time. Compact.